Welcome to 10 Talks, real conversations for champions with champions, where a champion life is a 10 life. Thank you for joining our team today. I'm Carlette Patterson, your head sports life coach at the Life Training Academy, and it's our desired outcome to share our passion for sports life coaching by training you to live a 10 life. You and your life matter. Let's get coached. Hi, team. Welcome to 10 Talks. We are excited to share with you a dear friend of mine from New Zealand today. His name is Mark, and Mark is one of our certified sports life coaches, as well as an incredible guide that really shares his passion for New Zealand and his passion for guiding the world with the most amazing people, really getting to see the most amazing country. And I have had the honor of sharing Mark and his incredible guide experience with a lot of my executives. And Mark and I share a passion for well-being. We have a desire to really let the world know just the magnitude and the joy of the journey of traveling, not only to see the world, but to really discover ourselves. And so, team, I want you to meet Mark. And Mark, just share a little bit about the power of your story and just some of your experiences.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Carlette, and hi, everybody, and thanks for the opportunity. And a big hi from New Zealand. I guess when I was younger, I was driven by success. What does it take to succeed? And it started in sport. And I took that up to sort of managing an Olympic campaign. So that sort of answered those questions for me. And then I turned my attention to business. What does it take to succeed in business? And startup business was where I sort of found the most challenge. And I've built the businesses that I have today from startup. And then after that, it was more sort of an awareness of, I would say at that stage in my life, I was rational and physical. And that's how I was approaching my life. And it wasn't until my later years that I started to learn more about emotions and that sort of thing. And I sort of started to grow an emotional muscle. And then from that, sort of be able to move a little bit more to my heart. And now, where I'm showing up now, hopefully my life is being led more by my heart. But for me, it's been a lot of stepping stones to get there. But my main career focus has been guiding people from overseas around New Zealand. And for me, I'm very grateful for the experience. It's been very much like a jigsaw puzzle where I've met people from overseas firsthand and sort of been able to learn from every person, and I hope that they've been able to learn from myself as well. And that's really for me is, as well as some significant occurrences in my life, that's sort of where I attribute a lot of my personal growth to. So hopefully that is a bit of a sort of summary of where I'm showing up.
Well, it's a great introduction. And Mark, you just talked on many puzzle pieces, as you said, and I really want to dive into some of those so that we can get to know really how you discovered well-being, how you've also gone through the journey of success, significance, and service, really our three dimensions that we're passionate about sharing with the world. And you and I have had the joy of being able to go through our coach certification. And it was during a time that you learned a tremendous amount about yourself, as well as really connecting to a team. And so kind of take us through what you've discovered about yourself from just that beginning when you were an athlete, because we have many listeners that are athletes right now, and you've certainly been on that journey. And you've also become an entrepreneur. And during this season that we're in right now, it's really a season of challenge and change for all of us. But as entrepreneurs, I too am an entrepreneur. We're really running our businesses based on a playbook that we've never seen before, something that we've never even known about. And just like in life, we can be prepared, we can have a business plan, we can even, just like you and I, we've had businesses for many, many years. And then there can be something that shows up that really changes our lives. And I'm sure that's happened to you from a guide perspective and personally, professionally, and philanthropically. So just kind of take us into that story.
Yeah, so for me, I think that I have an underlying pattern, and that's where I strive to achieve something. So if it was a sport, it was sort of defining myself on the external.
Mm.
If you can win this competition or this event or this medal, then you must be okay. But there is a setup to that as well, because you're defining your life on winning something that can be very hard to achieve. So there is a pattern of setup there. When I met Carlette, it was when my marriage broke up. So for me, that was a very significant part in my life. But it was the same pattern. If I meet this person, we get married, we're on that journey, and that's how I'm perceived in the external, and that is my success story. And then when that goes away, what are you left with? So that becomes the change management piece. And I'll talk to that little part briefly, because that's a time in my life where I only had the rational and physical tools. So if you look at a journey, I got to the end of that road, and the rational and physical tools that I had at that point in time was not enough to get me, because what I was facing, my mind couldn't compute. So that is for me when I had to learn about emotions and subconscious emotions, and that meant, before that, if I ever felt bad, I would go to my go-to, which was sport. If I went for a run, the endorphins, or if I did something extreme, the endorphins would start pumping and I'd feel good again. But building the emotional muscle in my life was actually when I had to feel, and that was one of the most challenging things that I've ever had to go through in my life. But again, I was very lucky to have met Carlette at that time, who was able to coach me through that, and saying that a number of other people I was very fortunate to have in my life were able to be my team sort of during those harder times.
Well,
And
Mark,
then,
what you're sharing with us, Mark, in terms of just that definition of winning, I think so many of us can relate to kind of acquiring things or winning competitions, and feeling like when we win, we're a winner. And if we don't win, we really question our identity. And I really respect you taking us on that journey, because I think as we go through this season, and so many of us are experiencing loss of our go-to, to use your words, in terms of, whenever things weren't going well, or we weren't winning, we were able to go to either our sport or something that made us really feel good again. And we've been really taken, everything that's kind of our go-to has been taken away from us in this very, very unique season that we're in. And I want to dive into really the discovery of that well-being through the pain, because you talk about, just being able to have the courage to go to the emotion rather than going to the physical. And that may be something that people are starting to experience for the first time in this season of change that we're stepping into. Maybe they haven't had to go to that emotional connection because life's been good, and we've been winning, and things have been pretty much as planned, and now all of a sudden things have changed dramatically. So can you share with us your heart from that perspective?
yeah, I think for me, it's just the difference between internal and external. So I frame it as life as a journey. So when I was younger, I was defining myself by the external, say what other people think about me, or what my story is. So you could look at that as potentially it's the mind. It's the mind telling a story, and maybe the mind is connected to the ego. So it's my ego. But sometimes in life, things happen. There's a significant moment, and it gives you the opportunity to reflect and reframe. And for me, that was going more into the internal for the first time. And it was actually a journey to become my authentic self. So if you look at an onion, it was essentially like peeling back the layers of the onion. So it was a journey of truth, really, by peeling back the layers of the onion. And it gradually revealed itself over time. And for me, there was a lot of feeling uncomfortable as I peeled back the layer of the onion. I call it the work. I call the uncomfortable stuff hugging the pillow. And it was peeling back the layer of the onion to try and be comfortable with myself. And that's doing nothing. It's just being with yourself and observing the mind, but not being the mind. So it's quite complex it's simple but complex all at the same time as you peel back the layer of the onion.
And what would you say are some winning strategies now that you look back at your film and you really watch? We talked a little bit about your personal life in terms of really that change in your marriage, and you certainly did the work. I had the honor of being beside you along with many people on your support team, and we were able to really stand beside you and watch you have the courage to dive into your work, to grieve the loss of not only your marriage, but the dream of your marriage and just that identity that you thought you were going to have. And then to really come out of it in such a different space, so connected to who you are in such a different way. And so share those winning strategies with us.
I think for me, I got to the end of the road in terms of the rational and physical. Like I can look back on that part of my life. I can look back on what I did with my sports and go, I'm really, really happy with that. I'm proud of that. And then I can now look at my business and say, it wasn't easy, but I did that. You know, I achieved that, and I got to the end of the road. I'm still doing it, but you know, it's just in the groove. And it's the same with the sport. I still play sport every day, but it's in the groove. But the journey that have been on has been more of the well-being journey, and so that becomes more of the focus. So you know, it's just where you're at on your journey. But in terms of winning strategies for me, one was meeting a guy that specializes in intuitive well-being. So essentially, he made me sit and just and do the meditation, which for anybody that hasn't sat and done that, especially if you come sort of from a rational and physical sporting, it's quite a challenge. Secondly, I had, you know, Carlette that had a whole lot of tools that I could use in the language of sport, which is a language that I understood and communicate and was familiar with. So being able to increase my toolbox. And then I had trust-based relationships, friendships with people that I could speak my truth to in a safe way, and they were able to speak. If you speak your truth to somebody, they typically can speak their truth back to you, which provides the journey where you can sort of unpack or peel back the layer of the onion. And then courage is the other one. The courage to sit with emotional pain, which for me, I would describe as sometimes more than physical pain. So this journey takes courage, and also the courage to walk your own path and become your authentic self. So it's a combination of those sorts of things. I think, Carlette, you say it quite well: reflecting, reframing, repeating.
Yeah. So Mark, thank you so much for really just getting that kind of simple formula out there for our team to hear, that really diving into those relationships and really honoring them. First of all, the relationship with ourself, having the courage to be still and really, maybe take stock and reset in a way, watch our film, see what we like about us, see what we'd like to improve, see what changes we'd like to make, and then to also connect with relationships, the ones that really honor who we are authentically, who we can have true conversations with. And most importantly, I think, the piece that just is the most important part of all is that courage piece, because all of us need courage right now in a time of such just uncertainty and tremendous amount of change. And so let's talk about just the power of courage. Where does it come from? What does it do for you? How do you find it? Does it stay with you? I know, Mark, if I look at my film, I can have courage in the morning when I wake up, and I can have some pretty tough blows throughout the day. And I can start to, from a self-talk perspective, really doubt myself and wonder, okay, what else do I need to do? Is this even worth doing? And we're getting to spend a lot of time in isolation right now in this season, and a lot of time of reflection. And so take us through really your journey of courage.
I think there's an aha moment that comes to mind, and it was sort of walking along the beach one day and just realizing that nobody can think for you and nobody can feel for you. So with that knowledge, there's an understanding that the one thing that you have in your life is you. And we come into this world alone and we die alone, but you have yourself. And at an early age, I think that there's a conditioning that we move it away from ourselves to be what the world, or what we perceive what the world wants us to be, which is essentially our mind. But we're not just our mind. Our mind is dominant, but we're actually our body, and however you choose to perceive who you are. So for me, it then became a journey of self-love, really,
Beautiful.
And so rather than looking for love externally, which is what I'd always done, and I guess if you're seen to be a certain way, then you're gonna, if I'm this, then I'll get this external love.
Right.
But if you actually flip that on its head and say, actually, if I learn to love myself, then I can just be unconditional love to the external, because I'm whole and healthy in myself. I didn't like that, or my mind did not like that realization. But it's like sometimes when you understand something, you can't go back. So at that stage for me, there was only one way to go, and that was to find that love for myself, and not look to it from the external.
So team, that was beautiful, Mark. Thank you for that. And just team, I want you to notice how we started with the question of courage, and Mark really opened his heart and his journey to us to understand that what started as courage ended up being unconditional love. And I can't imagine a better winning strategy than the anchor of love, as we really start to figure out, who are we? What's important to us? Do we want to rebuild? Do we want to start something new? In this moment of reset, can we have the courage, as Mark has really so eloquently just expressed his journey, can we have the courage to start with self-love? And I would add self-compassion to that, just that gentleness inside this grief that we may be experiencing, or the rawness of having change upon us in a way that we didn't really want or expect, or certainly, we're fighting to kind of not have as we continue. And it's something that was taken away from us very quickly and anchored us in a purpose. We're all staying home, we're all wanting to be healthy, and we're doing it so that we can protect other people and hopefully save lives. So yes, we've been given a change with a very powerful purpose. And also it's hard. It's really difficult from a self perspective. And so just to recap that, it starts with courage. That courage can lead us to love. that love is really about, instead of it being external and it being, us kind of chasing either the love of money, the love of a relationship, the love of an identity, can we have the courage to have that self-love and that self-compassion to sit in the stillness and really kind of question from a place of curiosity, who am I and what's important to me? And so, Mark, as you have been given the gift of time and sitting still and reflecting, what have you discovered about yourself professionally as we dive into this next season? As an entrepreneur, you've had to really, face some truths professionally as well. And where is your heart with that?
My heart with that is that I studied business. So when I first set up my business, it was based on my mind again, business plans, marketing plans and budgets. And now the way that I live my life is a knowing that my life is taking place right here, right now, in the present moment. And my experience of life is my experience of life. And I'm comfortable with that. And that simplifies everything down. So when I go to work, I also have trust. I have trust in something bigger than myself, but I can't tell you what it is. It's just on the table. There's a lot I don't know. So
Another truth, right, team? I mean, all of us are really wrestling with a lot that we don't know.
So what I do is I just put it on the table. That's how I'm visual, so I visualize things. I just dump it on the table, like you've got a deck of cards and you just throw them on the table, and that's sort of that. But then I approach my life and work now is in a 24-hour time frame. I try and do my best and be my best self 24 hours at a time. And there's stuff outside your control, there's stuff within your control. You just got to realize what's in your control and what's outside your control, and do the best within your center of influence. So that's my approach, is to do the best I can with what shows up 24 hours at a time, and be okay with that, because in the present moment, that is my life. And of course we're connected to other people, but that's all the magic and the joy of life. But for me, I've gone from a complex approach to a very simple approach. I try and simplify everything down. So that is my winning strategy.
Team, you are getting such a journey as Mark is guiding us through his story. And I hope you hear that winning strategy of being present. We could frame that in a way of winning the day, really, kind of winning every moment and winning the day, depending on what's a winning strategy for you. And also just, I want to insert that joy component, because Mark, you said that so beautifully in terms of, we've got this life, we've kind of laid it all on the table. It's a deck of cards that we're watching play out in many different ways. And we want to be present with really, what do we control today? What do we not control? And so, Mark, tell us about what brings you great joy.
I think people is what brings me joy. I think just connecting with people, playing my part as part of a connected team or connected one, is what brings me joy. It's very, very simple. If I can just play my part every day and do my best every day based on what shows up, then I typically I go to bed at night joyful, because I feel that I've played my part.
So, Mark, that leads us into our third dimension. You've just done a beautiful job personally, professionally. Let's talk about philanthropically, because we really, our definition of sports philanthropy, or even introducing philanthropy is all about giving hope, and it's all about playing a small role in something so much bigger than ourselves. And you just really kind of led us to that, talking about the connection of people and just playing your role in that. And I know when I met you many years ago, I think it's been 10, 15 years, I'm not even sure at this point, but when I met you a long time ago, that was a new dimension to introduce that philanthropic component. And you just did it with such just joy as you dove into really discovering kind of what is that? How does it relate in my life? Who can I connect to? So share with us a bit about your story from a philanthropic perspective.
Yeah, we're involved in a foundation. So, and it's not my foundation, but I play my part to the best of my ability within it. But it takes boys from a school. So it's a boys' school, and they come from challenging circumstances, and they go through their schooling, and the boarders at the school, and they're well looked after, but it provides a really good foundation. And then after that, the foundation or the philanthropic piece that I'm involved with is that those boys get put through university. So they get a mentor, and they get their tuition paid for, and then they get a buddy at university. And so it just provides them the support that they need, so that they have the confidence to keep following their path. I know in my own life, one of the barriers or challenges I came up against was, as you're going down the path, was confidence. Am I doing the right thing? You get to some quite big decisions that you've got to make in life, and it's nice to just know that there's somebody there that you can work through those decisions. And basically it's about a ripple effect. Is if you make one person sort of life a little bit easier, then that person can help another person, and it leads to a path of empowerment. Yeah. And well-being, when Carlette was talking about giving back, I sort of just wanted to say something on well-being. Like, for me personally, I stand for well-being. Professionally, I stand for productivity. And then there is the giving back piece. But well-being to me is, you can only give somebody permission to take care of their well-being. You can't take care of somebody's well-being for them, but because well-being is your own journey. There's lots of different well-being practitioners out there. There's lots of different ways, but it's your journey, and only you can do that. And I think that's true to life to a certain extent as well. But I look at it like a circle for me. You have your personal, professional when you're giving back, and that completes the circle. And then that becomes a sustainable model. And then if we're all, say, doing that, then we can all sort of connect on that level, and then we're all playing our part. And that's what I think is going to create momentum and lead to change.
Well, Mark, you've really described our three-dimensional model perfectly, in terms of that personal for significance, professionally for success, and philanthropically for service. And every one of your dimensions that you shared a part of your story about had a real foundation of a support team. And team, I hope you're hearing that. I think during this time, that is a huge winning strategy, is to really find our support team, define our support team, reach out to our support team, make sure that those relationships that you've been blessed with, they know how important they are to you. They know, really what role they play in your life. Some of us play a big role in people's lives. Some of us play a small role. Mark was speaking about, sometimes there's those big decisions that we have to make, and we need a person that we can trust, that knows us, knows our values, knows what we stand for, knows, the courage that it's taken for us to be on our journey. And they can be on our support team and be a guide to us, be a mentor to us. Sometimes we just need people to go out and have fun with. So, when we talk about this support team, I want you to have a visual picture of a sports team. And a sports team has different people playing different roles. And it's actually the diversity that creates that winning team. If we all show up with everybody just like us, I don't know a sports team that has won championships or won many games at all if everybody's exactly the same. So as we think about creating really our support team to get through this season, I want to challenge all of us to make sure that we're, number one, that self-love that's so important. So starting with me getting to show up on my own team and in my own life, and then reaching out to the people that I love, that I trust, that I care about, sharing my heart with them, being truthful, and just having the courage to take them through kind of where I am, and importantly, asking them where they are so that I can play a small role on their team as well. And Mark, another component that I want to just hear a piece from your story is, tell us about who has given hope to you in your life as you've gone down this journey.
Yeah, I think for me, I come back to those trust-based relationships. Um, you meet people in your life, and for me, I would start with my mother, my sister. I think family, you're starting from the premise of unconditional love, and then you meet people that are reflecting and unpacking. They're on a journey, and you sort of connect and you sort of know that they too are your family, and it provides that safe place to just keep unpacking, and you sort of have this inner knowing that you're meant to be in each other's lives, and they tend to be my go-to person, people, and it's trust. You have these deep trust-based connections where you can explore, and you can unpack, and you can speak your truth to each other without judgment, and you both you open up as you go. I don't know, but
well, that's very well said. I mean, team, I hope you hear that. No judgment and lots of grace. I mean, we are, as humans right now, some of us really struggling to find our footing right now. And maybe we're not being our most fabulous self because our winning strategies have been taken away from us. The isolation can be a performance barrier, the rituals and routines being disrupted, and I'm used to certain things that really set me up for success, and all of those things have been taken away. And I am now left with myself, and I'm really having to figure out a lot about myself. And so as we kind of transition into honoring ourselves, that wholeheartedness of really connecting our mind, our body, our spirit, and that well-being component, as Mark said, it's really up to us to discover our definition of well-being, to own it, to transform ourselves in a way that is anchored in how we define well-being. So Mark, I know that you've had the opportunity to go around the world, and especially in New Zealand, be able to guide in the most beautiful places with, the most heart-centered, beautiful, on-purpose people. And as we dive into well-being, one of our favorite tools is called 10 moments, and it's on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is low, 10 is fabulous. And we like to kind of watch our lives and think about what are 10 moments. And that's a gift that I want to make sure we remind our listeners about our MeQ skills. We're really doing a lot of work in MeQ, which is all about really the intelligence of me. And that's what well-being is all about, is who am I? What do I need? What's important? What are my strengths? What do I want to do? And so as we think about, from a MeQ perspective, what are my 10 moments? What are the things that matter to me? What are the things that, really I love, that makes my heart beat in a really courageous, powerful way? Mark, share some of those 10 moments with us. I know you've had so many in your life.
Yeah, a 10 moment for me is meeting somebody. Like I'm very lucky. I get to meet somebody at the airport, and then I get to have 10 to 14 days with them, traveling around a country that I love, and we get to talk as we travel, and we also get to do experiences as we travel. And it's just that whole dynamic of meeting somebody, showing up where we both show up, or a group of people, and then through experiences, and a lot of the experiences we do in nature. So, and it's just seeing one day build on the next day, and the conversations get deeper, and just where we start and where we leave. And I think a 10 moment for me, just to give you an example of the combination of that, is that I've got a client that's come back 12 times. So when he comes back, you know, he's like my best friend. Like, I talk to him almost every day, and it's growing out of these experiences. And within that, there's lots of 10 moments. And yeah, so I just think that's just an example of where the 10 moments can go.
Team, I hope you're hearing that 10 moments can be in a moment of the day, or they can be a collection of moments that really are based in relationships. And, you know, we never know when a 10 moment's going to present itself. And we want to really raise your consciousness and your awareness to notice those 10s. And yes, we are going through a lot of ones right now, and a lot of very challenging times, and some grief and some loss. And I hope that you can also open your heart from that courageous perspective, and really start to go on the journey of discovering 10s. This is a beautiful time for you to figure out, what is it that's a 10 to me? What matters so much to me? So Mark, as we begin to transition our 10 talks, and I want to get your top 10 list, do you have kind of a list of really well-being, what it takes to be a champion in well-being, your top 10 list for that?
Yeah, so well-being to me is something you can only give other people permission to take care of their well-being, and then well-being is your own journey to go on your well-being journey. And then my friend wrote a book called 6 Healthy Lifestyle Principles, and he's defined those principles as real food, movement, lifelong learning, community, rest and relaxation, and love. So I like those categories so much that I've put them as sort of the umbrella foundation for the culture of my business, as well as Carlette's coaching and tools. So that's how I define well-being.
That is beautiful, Mark. And team, I want you to know that Mark and I have teamed up for years. We've really had the passion to bring people from the US to New Zealand, and to have that combination of well-being and coaching, and Mark and I sharing our passion of me coaching and him being able to guide, and also him being able to guide as one of our coaches. So if you've got an interest in really discovering well-being in New Zealand, and I know we're going to get back to traveling at some point in our lives, put this on your 10 list, because New Zealand's amazing. Mark, you can tell, is such a dear, amazing friend with a heart of gold. And we look forward to serving and supporting you as you go on this kind of MeQ journey to become a champion in well-being and take care of yourself. We want to say thank you with our open heart and our whole heart to all the first responders that are taking care of our world, and we are committed to taking care of ourselves. That's a world of well-being, and it's an honor to be able to connect the way we can, and really share our love and passion. Mark, what would you like to say as a close?
Yeah, come to New Zealand. Come and play in the outdoors. Love to have you down here. And I just want to talk to what's happening at the moment. And in my life, what is taking place is I've never seen before. I never ever in my wildest dreams thought that I would perceive this. For me, my biggest concern, if I'm truthful, is the economy. Is that, you know, my driver is freedom. And we live in a man-made, as well as a natural world, we live in a man-made world where we have to pay our way. And if we can't pay our way, it's challenging to achieve freedom. And that scares the heck out of me. So I've really, personally, I'm in my bubble by myself. I just came back from guiding. So I have had to sit the last 3 weeks and really dig deep to reframe, to first of all understand on all the different levels what's happening, because this is a complex situation, and then to sort of say, well, where do I sit in all of this, and how am I going to reframe this so when we are allowed out again, that I have a purpose. And I've done that but really it has not been easy for me. And so if it hasn't been easy for other people, I really understand that. But if you just come back to the basics, there is absolutely a pathway through this. And I think there is a tremendous opportunity in this time too. When do you get the time to stop? You know, when do you get the time without the distraction? When do you get this opportunity in life? So we can definitely take whatever is challenging and turn it into a huge positive collectively, I think.
Well, Mark, thank you for those words of wisdom. And team, I hope you have really gotten just a dose of well-being as we have dove into Mark's story and Mark's heart. And it's up to you now. It's up to you to take really what you've learned from our conversation and make it about you, and really go out and start to find those 10s, define what well-being means to you. You are so worth it. You and your life matter. We need you healthy and happy. And, you know, we're a world that's all connected. And so we are on the same team. We are pulling for each other, and know that we are in this together and we're going to make it through it. So go out and have a 10-day. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Yeah.
Thank you for listening. We'd like to get you coached up, so head over to iTunes and Spotify and hit subscribe. And remember, a champion life is a 10 life. You and your life matter. Create a life that you love, give hope to others, and be and choose nothing but 10s. Be you, the world needs you. Go to lifetrainingacademy.com to start your training and get coached.